Welcome to Rainbow Six Siege. This is a game that personally I've been really looking forward to playing since it was detailed last year at E3, and just this week the game dropped into closed alpha. I signed up maybe a month ago now, and I got my key in the second wave, and I've pumped maybe 3 to 4 hours into the game since then, and that might not sound like a lot of time, but I've gained a good insight into how the game plays right now, and I want to give you guys a run through. But before we get started, I really do want to emphasize something. All of what you're seeing on screen right now is alpha gameplay. It is all subject to change, and this in no way should be used as a reference to the final product, which incidentally still doesn't have a release date yet, which shows you just how far back we are in the development of this game. So take this gameplay lightly. A lot of what you see is likely to have changed in some way when the game does finally drop onto store shelves. So, first up, what is Rainbow Six Siege? Well, it's billed as a competitive 5v5 shooter, although I do have some issues with that, which I'll get onto in a minute, in which one team is tasked with recovering a hostage from the defenders and extracting them from the danger zone. The game is round-based, with the team winning the most rounds taking home the victory. That's it in its basics. You have access to multiple different types of operators as well, which is the word the developers are using to describe the in-game characters. They possess different weapons, gadgets, and reinforcements for you to play with. What does the game do well then? For starters, I like the way that each player within the game has a different role. So some people will choose a player who has breaching charges, who can blow open holes in walls and ceilings. Some of them have grenades who can flush out enemies from a camp spot, and some even have barbed wire to cut off routes for the attacking team. So everyone kind of fits together really nicely, and it doesn't seem like one person is doing everything and carrying your team. Even with the weapons, some players are forced to use DMRs and shotguns depending on which operator you pick. So some people might be better suited to play a longer range combat style, and some of them can get up close and personal. The maps themselves look really great. I mean, in the alpha right now, there are 2 of them available. One is called Plain, and the other one is called House. And House was the one that was shown off at E3 last year, although back then it was set at night time, whereas right now it takes place during the day. Does that mean that we're going to be seeing time-specific variants of these maps? Who really knows right now? But a big part of why these maps look so good is, I think, the destruction that's on offer. The way that you can smash holes into the walls using the butt of your gun is a really great way to set up a nice head glitch location, and it's a great way of utilising the map as well. The way you can shoot through most objects that you expect bullets to penetrate is another welcome feature. One small issue that I do have though is that some of the set piece destruction, like the way that you can blow your way through the ceilings, is only specific to one location on the ceiling. It's not like the whole ceiling is available for you to blow a hole through. That would be a little bit stupid, but what I'm saying is it is literally restricted to maybe a 2 meter by 2 meter section of that ceiling. It would be great to see, like, I don't know, a wider area available. Perhaps one room you could have the whole ceiling at your disposal to blow up a hole into it. So you could do it in the corner, or you could do it in the middle. And that way it would add like a little bit more emergent gameplay, not really knowing if, when, or where that ceiling is going to blow up. And that leads me right into my first point, having just touched on some feedback there. Let's talk about those reinforcements. There are so many ways to reinforce yourself in this game. When you play as a defender, your primary task is to stop the attackers recovering or killing the hostage. And to do this, the developers have implemented a really highly interactive reinforcement system. You can barricade doors and windows, you can reinforce walls, you can even place down barbed wire and metal barriers if you choose the right operator. And all of these obstructions gel together to sometimes make it a little bit of a mission to even get close to the room with the hostage in it. I mean, I understand that there should be some element of protection involved, but reinforcing all open walls, all windows, and then setting up barbed wire on the stairs? I mean, how many obstacles do you really need? It slows down gameplay to such a slow pace as well, that you as the defender could simply camp the hostage room, wait for the defences to slowly dwindle away, and then rip through 5 enemy players when they come through the only entrance to the room. Seems a little bit silly, and it kind of totally lost the intensity for me. Multiple times I was just sitting in the hostage room, having all the other players put up these barricades so I couldn't really get out without breaking them. I kind of felt like I wasn't really doing anything for 2 minutes of the round. The change I'd make to try and rectify this is to only allow one player to reinforce one section of the wall. So there are 5 players on your team, then you've got 5 different locations that you could reinforce a wall on the map, and you could only reinforce 2 doors or windows, because reinforcing the windows or the doors is the same thing. You just put these like wooden slats down it, and if you only had 2 of those at your disposal, then the whole team would have to work together to barricade off all the entrances, and then you haven't got anything left over to then re-barricade stuff or do extra stuff with them, because it's not like you can carry loads and loads and loads of wooden slats on your back. I think it would be a little bit heavy, and it doesn't leave just one player going round and then DIYing the whole map before the round's even started. And speaking of when the round starts, that's another issue that I've got. The drones. Just no. This is where my statement at the beginning of the video comes into play. I have an issue with this game being billed as a 5v5 tactical competitive shooter. If what you've decided to do is give the attackers 30 seconds at the start of the round to drive a small remote controlled drone into the play area, find and locate the hostage, well, the defending team can choose where the hostage is supposed to be, there's like 5 different locations it could be, and then simply rush that section of the map. That right there removes all sense of tactical play, as you already know where the hostage is. Imagine this drone mechanic were added to CSGO, how would their player base react? My guess? Not very well. I think this is what makes CSGO great to play and watch as an esport. You don't really know what's going to happen, you don't know which bomb site to hit, because you don't know where the enemies are. In Siege, none of that tense action is really likely to occur, at least not to the same level, when mechanics like this drone thing are introduced. Like, every round that you do it, the drone goes in for 30 seconds, you instantly know what's going on, and then you just rush that section of the map. What's the point in having the rest of the map available if you already know where you're going? Just seems like a bit of a pointless decision. And my final gripe, and maybe this is something that the developers haven't really touched on yet, I don't know, might be too early in the development of the game, is that the weapons themselves, they feel exactly the same to handle. All the automatic weapons feel the same. Yes, some have faster fire rates and some have different size magazines with different amounts of ammo in them, but right now, the recoil is virtually non-existent. I'm not sure about you, but throughout the whole FPS genre in the last 5 years, I've seen more and more casual elements make their way in to make the genre more accessible for less able players and to get more people playing first-person shooters. They are very popular. That's fine, you can do that in a casual game, but don't do it in a competitive 5v5 environment. I want my weapon to have recoil. I want to make sure that when I go into a firefight, I know the player with the better aim won, not just the guy who happened to fire first. If the weapons recoil all over the place, the more skilled player will be able to keep their sights on target and take their opponent down. So it might sound like I don't really enjoy this game, but that's far from the truth. The point of the alpha is to give feedback to the developers so they know what changes to make, so they can go down a different path and maybe take some outside influence into their own designs and ultimately make the game better. That's what I've tried to do in this video. It might sound like I've just rambled on for a bit, but these are genuine issues. If you've played the alpha, I think it's fairly obvious that some of these things do just stand out a little bit. It is good to play with friends though, and I do think it could become a great FPS shooter, but it does need some work. My summary would be this. Right now, the game is too casual. It needs to step up its game, it needs to grab the FPS genre by the balls and throw itself into the hardcore deep end of the pool. Come on Ubisoft, you know it makes sense, and it's a perfect time to do it as well, because no one else seems to be doing it right now. But thank you very much for watching today guys. If you enjoyed the video, and if you could slap me a like down below, that'd be fantastic. And leave some thoughts in the comments while you're down there too. Also, hit up my G2A store, g2a.com/r/Westy for some great deals, and you can now use code WEST for an additional discount that's been reactivated for you guys. Sorry about that one. But until next time, my name is Westy, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.